Hey guys, and welcome to a new video. Today I want to bring you the update on my take on the Bleed Bow Gladiator having 100% or over 100% chance to avoid elemental ailments. Sadly, I did not manage to get my chaos resistance capped, which I'm going to explain a little bit later. But I pretty much explained the core of this build in the previous video, which was my starter video, basically. This is now the high-end version or high-budget version or whatever you want to call it. Let's just spend a couple hundred exalts on this build, and this is the final outcome. Sadly, as you saw with my crafting videos, it did not work out, so I kind of had to force myself to play with this Miro tier bow. But yeah, as I said, this is by far not League starter friendly anymore, right? So please take the other video for that. Good. This is wait, I lost track now. Shit. What I was about to say, yeah. Anyways, today we're going to focus mainly on map showcasing, right? So basically we're gonna do all 4 Conquerors today. So I just spawned them on stream like a minute ago. So we're gonna do all 4 Conquerors now. We're gonna do Sirus afterwards. And then we're gonna do Uber Elder as well. And I'm just gonna say I love this build, okay? So this build kind of offers everything you want from a build. So I would say this is definitely a 10 out of 10 based on what is possible with this build. Like, it has super fast clearing speed, right? It has a very good single target DPS. It is very fast with, like, as a gladiator. You can play this as a champion too, so you have, like, the flexibility in there. It is hardcore viable, and hey, still, like, death 0 times, okay? Even I managed to stay hardcore viable at this point here, right? Probably not solo self-found viable anymore with this kind of gear. But anyway, so this is hardcore viable. It is solo self-found viable because you can farm all this stuff like Lionized Fall through divination cards. As I said, it's flexible in what you want to do. Like, if you go with an explode chest, you can go double curse. Like, you can do whatever you want. And then you have, like, an insane gearing curve. Once you have gathered, like, once League Star is over, like, after a week or two, once you gathered enough exalts to just stick more into that, do some fancy things like I did here with 100% chance to avoid elemental ailments, which means I'm immune to freeze, shock, ignite, brittle, sap, whatever, you know, like, all of these elemental ailments, I'm immune to that. Through the Pantheons, then I'm immune to poison, and I have a Corrupted Blood Jewel, which mainly makes me immune to bleed too, but therefore I also have a bleed immunity flask, so all my flasks here are just optional, and personally, I just love this build, and if everything works as intended, if GGG doesn't give us something very insane for next League new skills or something, this is highly likely going to be my League starter. As I said, still deathless. Today on this video, we're gonna try to kill this character. I mean, I'm gonna try to not kill it, okay? But it might happen. So this is a one-take video, right? So now we're just gonna kill all the Conquerors on Awakener 8, so you get a feeling about the mapping speed, about the mapping in general, about the boss DPS. Then we're gonna do Sirus, then we're gonna do all the other stuff here, right? So, and in the meanwhile, I'm just going to talk random stuff about this build, I guess, or I don't know. It's like, I'm going to run like maps now for 15 minutes and I have absolutely no clue what I should talk about. But I think it doesn't really matter. Let's just watch things explode. Okay, good. That's the first word, explode. Why do I have an explode chest while playing a gladiator with bleed explosions, you might wonder. And I don't really have a good answer for that. The thing is, the bleed explode from your gladiator is actually 100% chance, right? It says enemies or bleeding enemies you kill explode dealing blah 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 damage as physical, whatever, right? So whatever dies on this build, every monster basically, will explode. For some reason, it doesn't feel that great. I don't know why it is, but since I'm having the explode chest, so I'm running like double explode now, and I cannot even find the boss in this freaking map. God damn it. So it still feels a lot better with the explode chest on top of that. So that means I could technically just swap away. Hey, dude, am I too stupid to find the boss here? Wait, I need to focus a little bit here. Holy moly. Okay, wait. I got there. There is not many options left, right? So it has to be here on the bottom side. I got this. But yeah, anyway, so based on the flexibility, let's talk about that one real quick. So a lot of people are actually going... Holy shit here. Okay, let's first Conqueror. Going champion for that playstyle, right? I do kind of prefer the Gladiator just because of the bleed pops, just because of the challenger charges. And we got an Awakened gem. Is that good? I think it's one of these 5 Chaos Awakened gems, right? So basically, as a League starter, I would definitely recommend the Gladiator. Why? Because the bleed explosions will be super heavy in the clearing speed, will help you a lot, and also the chance to cause bleeding. It's kind of hard to reach that and 100% on the start of the league, right? Because even on, like, you have to get, like, chance to bleed, for example. Your bow maybe not have chance to bleed. All your other gear maybe not have chance to bleed. So the first step is you need to get the 100%, and the Ascendancy will help you with that. And as soon as you get the Gracious Violence with the bleed pops, you're gonna feel a massive improvement about the mapping speed in general. And I think once you get an Explode chest, which is basically doing the job of the bleed explosion at this part, then you're gonna feel, or you can actually swap to the champion just because the permanent fortifies. A lot of hardcore players actually swap to the champion because fortify is just an insane improvement for the character for the survivability. Yet still, I prefer the I was saying the Challenger charges, the Gladiator, over the Fortify. I think the way I solve this one with the max or minimum frenzy charges and minimum endurance charges means I get like 10% more physical damage while on maximum frenzy charges, and this time around I actually have this permanently up, right? So if you remember, my past Gladiator builds did have a timeless jewel with like frenzy charge and hit and endurance charge when you get hit. The problem with that is you're not gonna have this active 100%, right? So you need to get into the map, you need to kill something, you need to attack something, and after you have the maximum stacks, then you're getting your Ascendancy points. Basically the less physical damage taking and the more physical damage done by your max frenzy charges, right? The way I solved this time was with a Thread of Hope that I explained in the last video, basically, where I anoint one minimum frenzy, one minimum endurance, and then through the help of the rings and amulet, where you can get minimum endurance and minimum frenzy charges, I now have permanently 3-3 basically, and have my Ascendancy up all the time, even in hideout, which is kinda nice, especially in terms like frenzy charge is just damage, you know, like damage is nice but not everything, right? The good thing about this one is the endurance charges. So endurance charges gives you all resistance, right? And if you have the 3 minimum endurance charges, you kind of have or can work with the, I think 12%, I think 4% all resistance per charge. You can work with that from the beginning. You don't really want to have a character that has 60% all resistance in mapping, because you know, well, once you get my, or once I get my endurance charges, then I can technically be rescued, you know? It's always like that. So I kind of like this version better, especially because you're not have to divine thousands of timeless jewels to get your frenzy charge and hit or something like that, right? Good. Dude, it's like second map down here and not even having charges. We kill some more monsters here for some flask charges. Probably we should. Seems like there are no monsters. Never mind then. Wait, is this Drox? It's Drox. I hate Drox. Okay, people told me in the past that when I stay in his bubble, we can actually deal extra damage. Let's see if that works. So I'm standing in his bubble and dealing damage. I mean, he kind of gets damage. It's just not a lot. Oh, wait, he's dead now. Okay. So that works, actually. I always thought that Drox is immune while he's actually doing his weird phase, and you kind of have to kill off the monsters and the flags that he's spawning, so he's getting vulnerable again. But it seems like it actually works if you just stand in this bubble. I guess once you have some nice accurate bleed DPS or damage in general. Good. Then we have Conqueror number 3 in this beautiful map showcase. And if you're wondering why I'm skipping Delirium all the time, because it sucks, okay? I'm very looking forward to next league, and I mean, I kind of hope that the it's going core, because Cluster Jewels is like an amazing way to improve your build in various ways. But kind of having, it's the same with Cassia, I think. Like, at some point, you've been in so many Cassia encounters or Delirium encounters that you're like, I just don't want it anymore. I want to have my 60 FPS once playing, you know? And if you have a PC like mine, like, which is kind of old and not that great anymore, right? You kind of feel the lag spikes based on the clouds, basically. Especially when you play builds like the... What did I play with the Volatile Death? That was like worst case scenario. Like if you spawn so many Volatile Death balls and you're like in Delirium, it's like garbage. So pop some flasks, just shoot some. Pay attention to the Cyclone thing, and boss is dead. Wow, it's a really good build, dude. And I think, like, in general, as I said before, I think this build is, like, probably one of the best builds that I've played yet. Just because it delivers everything that you kind of want to have from a build. From the mapping speed, you know, like, usually builds are just good at something, you know, like, some builds are, like, super good at mapping, very fast, but they'll have, like, no single target DPS whatsoever. They struggle on bosses, they cannot do bosses sometimes. Then you have like, builds that are capable of doing all content, whatever it is, but it's, like, really slow, you know, and I'm a player, like, I like speed builds. Like, main reason why I go for Gladiator with the Arena Challenger charges anyways, right? Instead of the Champion. But still, I prefer speed over everything else, probably. And this build, as I said, it just offers everything that you want to have for a build. And I would rate it, like, top 3 of League starters after playing this character now. I mean, obviously, if you have this kind of gear, it shouldn't be too hard to do all content, right? Hey, at least I did all Conquerors Deathless already, right? I think, like, I always recommend people to play Essence Drain Contagion as League Start, just because it is kind of the same as this build, right? You have, like, a good League Starter base, it is hardcore viable, it is solo self-on viable, like, all these builds are very strong, basically. You have an insane gearing curve, so you can really stick a lot of currency, and it works without any currency. The problem with, like, the other dot builds, like, I think dot builds have this in general, right? This smooth gameplay, basically. Poison needs, I think, a bit more investment than Blade or Chaos Dot. Maybe if you play Blade Vortex Assassin, it's not, like, that heavy, but my League starter in this league was the Pestilence Strike, the Pathfinder, and I felt like after, like, if you have, like, 10, 15 Chaos and you get, like, your early investment, like Wasp Nest and stuff like that, it will get you easily into high tier maps, but once you push for Conquerors, for Sirus and stuff like that, it doesn't feel that strong anymore. You need a lot more investment to get to make it going, and I think, like, on Essence Drain and on this character, it is, like, a smoother transition from your low tier maps into mid, high tier until the Guardians, basically. I think Ignite falls off pretty heavily. I mean, my Ignite build was actually pretty strong. Let me quickly focus here. As I said, I still want to live on this character, and I don't want to have it dead here on Sirus, right? I will still try to explain a little bit more here. The Bleeds, the Ignite build that I did a couple days ago or weeks ago, it was insanely strong. I got my Ignite up to 17 million DPS, or yeah, DPS, basically. That means my Ignite lasts like 5 seconds, so you have like 60, 70 million damage with one single Ignite. Thanks to Archmage, basically, right? With the stacking of the lightning damage or mana, basically. Dude, am I going to die here? Am I going to die here? Ah! Okay. I should actually focus here and not, like, talk about God and the world. Holy shit, okay. Focus now. I mean, it was kind of unlucky, I gotta say, with the storms. They were just not going away. But hey, I need to focus now. After this, like, Sirus and Uber Elder, if I can make those two deathless, then the character is done, okay? And it stayed deathless. And I would like to have this. Woo! Okay, focus. Good. 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 Shoot. Okay, good. Phase is over. Okay, just last phase. I think I can do this while talking. So I would not recommend... Okay, Cyclones, hey. I don't... Okay, last phase. We got this, we got this. Okay. Okay. Okay, he's dead. No, he's not dead. Oh, shit. Isn't he invulnerable while he's, like, throwing down the meteor? I think he doesn't get damage while I'm trying to escape. I guess. I don't know. But hey, thank you, GGG. I think this was bugged. I think he shouldn't get any damage while he's doing this his meteor, right? I guess. I'm not sure about that. Good. So, Conqueror's down, Sirus down, and hey, we're still deathless on this one, right? Good. So, let's Val this one here. Let's make some very nice gloves. Hey, wait, this is working. Huh? Okay. Almost. So, let's just get rid of all of that, because nobody needs it anyways. It's just end of league, right? And now, as last part here, we're actually gonna do the Uber Elder. I've actually bought a full set before I started recording this video just for you guys. Isn't that great? Because usually people are always complaining, here we're going to switch to Soul of Ugol. Because usually people are always explaining, hey, we want more gameplay footage, right? So this is a lot of gameplay footage here, right? And as I said, like, usually I kind of explained everything on the last video. It's just the certain items that I improved or changed, basically. With the vulnerability. We're gonna go a little bit about the gear. The Path of Building link is in the description below anyways, if you want to take a look. Let's do the Uber Elder. Quick focus. I haven't done a lot of Uber Elders lately. So we just need to check to get some of those bleeds on, right? So first bleed, he's dead. Good. Second bleed, dead. That's pretty good. All it takes is one arrow to the knee. And chain and pierce and fork. No, wait, there is no pierce actually. There is just chain and fork. We'll take care of the portals probably. Ah, that's some good DPS. Ah. Imagine playing with a Mira tier bow and actually having bad DPS. Oh, good. Next phase. Bleed is on. Run. Bleed is on. Wait. Wait. Ah, good. Next phase. See, that's the quality of life of dot builds. You just hit them once, and you just profit. And then you're free to go to just run around and dodge things if you're able to do so. If you're not like mbXtreme and just hit everything in the face. Okay, that's going to be a little bit shitty here. Because I always say, like, builds with a lot of movement speed, especially if you play with, like, Queen of the Forest, it's, like, very hard to do Uber Elder, because you kind of have or want to stay in the circle, right? But sometimes it's just not possible, because, like, whenever you're moving, you're just instantly moving out of the circle. So that bleed is on. Just wait for his portals. No, wait, he's doing some hentai stuff here, bringing out the tentacles. Good. We're heating into the last phase here. Some more split arrows here, some more there. Oh, we're gonna get a Watcher's Eye. Okay, let's get the ball over here. Get some totems over here. Alright. And last phase. Vapor Slam. Oh, oh. Whoop. Dead. Where's the next one? Whoop. Whoop. Sometimes, like, if you have additional arrows, then it probably gets a little bit easier of hitting that puncture because it's just one single arrow. But there you go, dude. Slash death. I did it. Hey, if even I can stay deathless on this character, then you can easily do too, right? I mean, I have like some investment here. That is pretty bad. I mean, wow, I'm amazed. Okay, good. Character will stay alive here. Wow, I'm actually surprised. I actually thought that I'm gonna die here. So, what is this? Crap, needs a Val Orb. Definitely. And +1 arrow. Boring. Okay. Good. Vendor this, vendor everything. I'm done. I'm legit done. So let's talk a little bit about the gear improvements that I made from top to bottom. Just a small words, not as in-depth that I usually do it, because this is like super high-end stuff. And basically, if you have a lot of currency, you can try rebuilding it. The core thing here is on the helm, it's a suffix, avoid elemental ailments. On the chest, avoid elemental ailments. This is a prefix. And the Shaper boots have a 35% chance to avoid elemental ailments. And if you take the thick skin, you can either anoint it or just skill towards that part. You're gonna end up having 100% or more than 100% chance to avoid elemental ailments. So you can definitely like click on chests without worrying about getting frozen and stuff like that, which is super nice. On the helm, I have Pride Mana Reservation. So this is something I'm not entirely sure if this is good or not. I mean, if we're gonna check the POV here, right? If I would disable here the... Probably it would be the auras. Where is it? The Pride aura. There we go. So I'm going from 7.6, 9.3, right? So it is quite some damage increase, but you still have to think about. First of all, I'm missing a Helm enchantment that could technically be like puncture damage or whatever. And then I need like either like Male Violence, Mana Reservation, Pride, Flesh and Stone, something like that. And then you have to get an amulet. This time around, it's a Hunter amulet with Malevolence has reduced Mana Reservation. Only through that and the Sovereignty over here with the reduced Mana Reservation. Or if you skip that part, you can still anoint Charisma. This is the only way to make all of this work with the War Banner, the Blood and Sand, the Malevolence, and the Pride Aura, right? The thing is, yes, it gives me a lot of damage, but this amulet could have, like, physical damage over time multiplier, for example, or other stats that might be useful for me. And since I'm kind of invested heavily here, I swapped, like, or at least I merged, like, Bleeding Faster with chance to avoid elemental ailments. Means I have no resistance on my boots, right? On my chest, I was lucky to slam 13 fire resistance, right? That was the best Exalt I think I ever hit. Anyways, it's like when you take things like that and you multi-mod like double prefix with a suffix, because you kind of have to get one ring with double suffix open or the amulet to have like one minimum endurance and frenzy. On the other, either one frenzy and one endurance, because you get one endurance, one frenzy on the anointments over here. So you're limited. So you need, you need 2 suffixes free on the ring or amulet, and then you need at least 1 free suffix on your amulet and on the other ring, basically, right? So that leaves you open with a lot of question marks. Where is my resistance coming from? I chaos spammed this one. This was actually it is a shaper base because I wanted to merge with Awakener Orb, like additional arrow with like maybe Hunter, bleeding damage faster, or physical damage over time multiplier, just things to give you a lot of damage, right? In the end, I was so starved on resistance that I just chaos spammed this one and said like, you know what? If I get life and resistance, I'm fine. If I get an open suffix and a craft resistance, even better, you know? Since I'm using a Rithlata's Coil, which gives you a lot of damage as well, but still no resistance. So the way Rithlata's Coil works is like, you have more maximum physical damage and less minimum physical damage, which is kind of the same, right? Unless you have like more maximum and minimum less physical damage, right? I'm not 100% sure how this, in PUB, it doesn't really get calculated at all, because if I mouse over the Rithlata's Coil, the stats that are written in red, I'm pretty sure this works maybe with the fork extension here, right? With the community thing. But since I know a lot of people are not using that, I kind of fix my builds myself. For example, the Phoenix Bow with the chance for bleeding to deal 100% more damage. This is like, this doesn't work, you know, so I have to manually add 100% more damage with bleeding. So some people might ask now, if it's 60% chance to deal 100% more damage, why don't you add like 60% more damage with bleeding? That would be technically right, but still this is 1 bleeding, right? And it always takes the highest bleeding. So I'm not like, if let's say the waypoint is the boss, I'm not like standing here shooting 1 arrow and just wait and hope that I hit the 100% chance mod. So I'm just standing here and shooting multiple projectiles. And one of those projectiles will have this 100% more bleeding damage, and the other ones will then be like, not queued up, but it is like, it will take the highest bleeding, right? So I can safely do, okay, it has 100% more damage with bleeding. Other, it would work with, if I would have the Crimson Dance, they would work a little bit different, but I explained the difference between Crimson Dance and non-Crimson Dance for bow builds on the last video anyways, again. Good. On the other part, I'm not sure how good I did that, because I'm not entirely sure how this balanced out, because I have 48% max minus the 36 minimum, so I just added like 12% more physical damage, just as the explanation when you're opening this POB and you see like, hey, why does your Rithlata's Call have 12% more damage and mine doesn't? It's just because my Path of Billing doesn't know what the maximum fizz and the minimum fizz is doing at all, right? That's why I say like safely, I should work like that if I had 12% more damage. On this part, I might be wrong, so please check the comments if somebody is just teaching me a better lesson, and you probably too. Good. Anything else here? I added a vulnerability ring. Like, all of these items are spammed with jagged fossils, as well as the gloves with the physical damage over time multiplier. Like, there was like thousands of jagged fossils trying to hit a nice ring, or at least 2 nice rings, one with a double open suffix, so I need like triple prefix, prefixes cannot be changed, Scour Off, Multimod for minimum endurance and frenzy charge, and the other one was the one with the vulnerability. Just try to get as much life as you can get. Resistance, please take any resistance that you can have. Because of my build in this part here, no resistance, barely any resistance, just the 12 from the implicit. The Astral Plate happily has 12 all resistance. So the worst case scenario that I had at one part when I was just not able to get my resistance going was just spending some points and get over here. So here is like 2 points, 10 all resistance, and then you can still go 3 points over here with 18. So it's like 28 all resistance and a jewel slot. This is kind of the worst case scenario. So every time you're doing something like this, you're missing out of life, you're missing out of damage, right? So it's always necessary or recommended, especially in a build where you use like almost every single rare item that you can get to get your resistance going without taking the skill tree. But still, you would have the option if you would find like some insane gear that is just not having any resistance on it, right? Good. Anything else? Cluster jewels, some small parts over here, just because I know people will wonder, like, why don't you use cluster jewels in this build? So I did prepare a cluster jewel. Don't mind the one voices here, right? It was just about how much points would I technically need. There is like, the only important thing is like 2 jewels here. One is the defensive node. This is the fatal node, or other nodes that gives you increased life or something. And there is another one. It is I kind of forgot the name, but it also gives you a chance to avoid elemental ailments. So if you're skipping one out of these items here without the craft, basically, there is still a small cluster jewels that can fix the missing chance to avoid elemental ailments. But since I could fix it with my gear, I would just take more and more life nodes, right? Second important is this combination here with Wasting Affliction and the Rent. This is basically, I have this one 3 times. On the large cluster jewel, there is like not too much good stuff here, right? It's not like an Impale build or something where you can use like some sick modifiers. But the most important thing here are the medium cluster jewels and the life ones. But now if you check my damage, right? I'm comparing now the Lionized Fall with all these axe and sword nodes that are getting converted with the Lionized Fall to be bow modifier nodes to the cluster jewels, right? So I'm having like 9.3 million DPS. So if I would unlearn all of this here and just take my cluster jewel now with the 1 voices, this is just like whatever. We're going to spend too many points here anyways. I'm still having 9.2 million, right? So damage-wise, and yes, I know this is written red here with the damaging ailments faster, but I added this one on the voices here. So bleeding you inflict deal 30% faster. I have this one over here, so just if you wonder here. I have it the same DPS here as with the Lionized Fall and Cleaving, Slaughter, and Razor's Edge. The difference is here I have like almost a 1,500 life more, but don't forget I'm having like over 10, 11 points more spent. So what I have to do now is basically remove a bunch of life nodes to actually be able to get all these points in, and then all of a sudden I'm back to my 7,500. So basically what I think all this cluster jewels investment is kind of the same outcome as if you would just take the Lionized Fall, take those nodes over here, and spend the rest points that you kind of don't have to spend on this one, just for more life nodes. And there is like, investment-wise, this one will be a couple hundred exalts. Well, if you take the 1 voices, right, it's like 1,000 exalts. It doesn't really matter. But this one is actually the same, or at least maybe mediocre worse, but it's like way more cost efficient, because this is even solo self-unviable in this part, right? So that's why I said, like, you know what, I'm just skipping all the cluster jewels. So if you want to play with those would be the options that I would recommend, but be aware that you need a lot more skill points, and therefore you're gonna have to pass up some of the life modifiers. So even if you take, or if you don't take the extra Pride or Malevolence that I took in the tree, you might be able to skip a lot of points on the top side, because you will not need the reduced mana reservation. So maybe if you want to tweak it a little bit, but this is the way I played my character, and I'm like super happy with the build in general, because I just did all content with it. I mean, obviously with that kind of investment. But as I said, it was just like a template, just to testing out what is this build capable to do with like high investment. So now I know what it is like to league start with it. I know what the budget curve is like. And now I see or saw how the build performs in the late end game with like super intense gear. And it just been a pleasure to play throughout the entire journey, I would say. Good. enough talking. Path of Building link is in the description below. That's it for me for this league. 3.10 Delirium League was awesome. Just for a small review here, I just did not like the fact that GGG allowed to have the Herald stackers and like dual cluster jewel stackers in general. If it's like there is like immune builds out there that GGG tries to avoid since so many times. If you remember, in Delph League we had immune builds. In like I think Synthesis League we had immune builds. Like every time there is popping up an immune build, like GGG fixes that instantly because this is something that should not be in the game. And this time around they did not, so I'm pretty sure all these cluster jewel stacking will be gone with next league. I think the league would have been a lot better if they would have fixed that right away with like removing that stacking possibility, just to say like, you know what, every single cluster jewel node can only be obtained one time. If you stack 2 or 3, the other 2 are just gonna be useless and not doing anything. I know that some people do really love the Herald stackers and they're gonna be offended by this, but you're gonna see this is going to be changed next league for sure. If not, I have a big question mark GGG, but we kind of know that it's going to get fixed. Good, that's it. Thanks for tuning in, thanks for watching, and see ya probably on the next video. That will be the reveal reaction video of 3.11 question mark league, right? Yes.